Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to No Filter Gen Z. We are young Americans fighting to defend the truth, and it is post-election now. Now we move into the golden age of America, as Trump was saying. But we got to talk about his picks and a lot that's going on now that he is the president-elect. So welcome to the show, John and Lydia. Thank you guys for coming. And I guess we'll dive right into what's going on now. And the biggest thing is the cabinet of Trump, that he's picking all these people to run departments and kind of reorganizing everything. And the biggest one in my mind right now is the new department he made,
Yeah.
Department of Government Efficiency, ran by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I think that's awesome because I remember seeing Vivek, in the primaries, and he's become so involved. Just I remember with like Charlie Kirk's tour right now, and
Yeah,
just like seeing him kind of come into the limelight. I think it's super awesome, and I never would have thought in a million years that Elon Musk would team up like on Trump's cabinet. Like it's just so insane to
I
even
know.
think about that is now like a reality. But I'm very excited. I think it's a great addition for
Yeah,
sure.
and the whole point of it is to basically cut down on a bunch of the people that they don't need in the government, like the corruption, and kind of
Yeah.
make it efficient like it's supposed to. So, and it's funny because it's called Doge, like Doge. And it's really funny. But John, what do you think about Elon Musk joining the government team
Uh,
now?
I think it's a great idea. Yeah. There's a lot of money that goes unnoticed in the government, and a lot of wasteful money too.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of some examples I found last night. But you would be surprised how our taxpayer money is going
yeah.
to some crazy things. Do you happen to know any wasteful expenditures?
I mean, there's more than we can even know, but there's so many people in the departments that are there just to make the money, and they don't really do much. And I think that that's kind of what they want to do, is crack down on that. And Elon Musk is the best person for that because he's a billionaire. One, he's a genius, and so I think it's gonna be awesome to have him join Trump's cabinet. But Vivek, I mean, I didn't even know who he was before this presidential election, when he was speaking in the primaries. But I love him. Like, he has very good points and he can speak very well. So I mean, I'm interested in seeing him maybe in 2028 doing something. So we'll see how
Yeah.
that goes. Like, he's super smart. But that's the one cabinet, and then there's also, which this pick just happened a few days ago, is uh, RFK Jr. is now the Secretary of Health. So
Yeah.
Lydia, what do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's awesome just to look at just the complete switch that's happened. I mean, for him to go independent and then for him to realize, you know what? There's really only one way to like truly save this country. And so
Mm-hmm.
after like he came into the picture with Trump and you just see this come into view and then, people realize his background and like how passionate he is just about American health and just how much we're failing in that department. If we're being quite honest, we just look at just what our food looks like
Yeah.
and how it, can directly link to so many different diseases and things like that. So I'm really excited to see like what RFK brings to the table because again, I mean, I don't really know much about him before. I mean, he's a Kennedy, so I'm not
Yeah.
as much aware of, what he contributes as far as but now that he's kind of come together as like a unified party, so to speak, and become into the cabinet. I'm really excited to see what he brings to the table for sure.
Yeah, and what he did was he put country over himself, like
Yeah.
by joining Trump, and putting aside some of their differences to make the country great again and healthy again, like he wants to do. And I saw that he was saying he's been praying for 19 years for God to use him in some way
Yes.
to
I
bring
saw
this part of the country back together. And so I think it's awesome that he actually got the opportunity now to be involved. And if you look at the transition from Biden's, I just posted this on my story yesterday. Biden's Secretary of Health, a transgender, not too
Yeah.
healthy looking person,
Yeah.
and then RFK's like this jacked guy. I mean, it makes
Yeah.
more
For
sense
oh
to
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Like, John, what do you think about that?
I mean, come on now. This is common sense. I don't understand how these people get in power,
It's
dude.
called DEI, and I can't wait for Trump to get rid of that. Diversity,
Yeah.
equity,
It's like
inclusion.
Yeah.
you look at the health director that we've had in the past. It doesn't make sense. Uh, Honestly, it's like going to a gym, and that person's giving you advice when you're like a professional
Yeah, it's
athlete.
like them being your trainer.
I would be kind of mad, dude. So
I think
yeah,
it's
I
good.
think it's a good change. It's common sense. I'm glad. Um, so I went on yesterday. I went on the web and tried to see some examples of wasteful money.
Oh yeah.
Came up. I came up. I saw a video. So I got some numbers right here. So check this out. So $1 million of taxpayer money went to study if selfish makes you happy. Uh,
What?
here's another one. $100,000 went to see if sunfish is more aggressive when given gin or tequila.
What?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, there was this other one. I don't remember. 1.5 million went to study the mating call of country frogs to see if they're different than city
From
frogs.
our taxes?
Yes.
That's dumb. And you know what was actually going to go towards our taxes too if it would have passed is Amendment 4 back in the during the election, the abortion bill.
Yeah.
That would have made taxpayer funded abortions a thing. And so I'm super glad that didn't pass. I would hate for that to happen, but that
Wow.
makes sense. Or none of that makes sense. But I'm glad that we're gonna cut some of that out. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Let's.
And
Oh, go ahead.
I had one more.
Oh yeah.
So this one's really shocked me. I forgot the number, but some taxpayer money went to support what was it? I forgot the drag queens,
Oh
a
my
drag queen
gosh.
celebration in Ecuador.
Are you serious?
That's
Yes, it went to support. It was a big number. I forgot it, but yeah.
that's
You
crazy.
know what surprises me? I mean, I don't. There's no way all this money's going to that. There has to be someone getting the money and just
Yeah, for
utilizing it for
sure. I
stuff.
mean, there's gonna be corruption like that no matter where you go, and especially in a government setting like that when they're handling so much money, it definitely gets to the wrong people. But one person that I want to bring up, which is probably one of the most controversial picks, Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. What do you guys
Yeah,
think?
let's talk about that one.
Yeah, I mean, I remember what happened with when he kind of led the ousting for Kevin McCarthy,
Yeah,
Speaker of the House last year, and I just remember like he got a really bad rap after that. You know, people were like, you know, why would he be doing this? I mean, he was so outspoken to the point of it was just kind of it was conflicting. Everything was very much there was the tensions were high, so
yeah,
to speak. And I think and I know that there's been various things that he's been involved with allegedly. And so I think that also leads to it being a little bit more controversial. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think people are kind of concerned if he's underqualified for this position, if he might not have, you know, what it takes. But honestly, anything can be better what than what like the previous cabinet administration was, you know?
yeah. Someone who doesn't use the power to what is it called when like politically prosecute Trump. Like that's what the current guy, I forgot his name, did. But Matt Gaetz he was an attorney. Like he does have experience, and I think that those um, allegations and stuff, is it true or not? Like this is the problem with a lot of America today is you get with so much media, you get all this stuff about people, but we don't even know what's true and what's not. And I feel like that's kind of what happened with Trump too. There was a lot of allegations towards him, and I mean, how does the American people know? You know?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not really too familiar who Matt Gaze was before the cabinet consideration. I just know hey, I don't know how to comment on it. It's kind of something like it's it's better than what we have now, but
It was
it's you gotta
definitely
be careful who we elect for leadership roles.
a wild card. I didn't expect Trump to pick him to be Attorney General, so it was a surprise. But I think if Trump picked him, he thinks he could run the department. You know, so we'll see if I think the Senate has to like confirm all these nominations, so we'll see what happens with that. Uh,
Right.
but another one which was on the campaign trail with Trump was Tulsi Gabbard, and she is now the director of national intelligence. So, John, you're familiar with some of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm familiar with her story. I think it's an awesome pick, representation of what you can do with successful military career. She started off with the National Guard in Hawaii.
Mm.
Enlisted. She went to Iraq, and then she became a commissioned officer, and she succeeded at that. And she
Yeah.
got attention from that, and now she's moving on to a political role, which I think is great. I think she can do the job.
How about you, Lydia?
Yeah, I mean, I love, knowing that she's very experienced in her military background. I was looking up the various, because I did see that she did serve in Hawaii, and then now she was like lieutenant colonel, like the Army Reserve, like she had that under her belt. But I really think it's inspiring how she switched from completely democratic to now
Yeah.
it's not even like she's independent still, like she's completely like a Republican, a part of the
Mm-hmm.
Republican Party, and I think that's really cool. And just goes to show how corrupt the Democratic Party has become. And we know this, we talk about this all the time. But I really appreciate how, she was able to kind of stand down in that way and just realize that, like, this is what needs to happen in order to have a sense of unity and how to be a
Yeah.
part, bring America back from what it's been, which you can't get much worse.
And
So
that's it's the same thing with Elon Musk. He was also a Democrat too, and these people are seeing that the Democrat Party is so far left that
it's not,
now the right isn't even that far right. So it just makes sense to go that way because it's common sense, like we've always been saying during the elections, the party of common sense. There's so many things that just are so radical on the other side that now, yeah, these people are joining this other side, and I think it's great. And no one can say Trump is sexist anymore, by the way. Tulsi Gabbard, National Intelligence, his White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, first woman ever to be Chief of Staff, and Trump appointed her. So this we're done with the Trump is sexist stuff. He's appointing women in all like so many of these departments, and by the way, that are qualified, that aren't just there because they're women or they're a color or whatever. Because we saw the Biden administration had this DEI thing everywhere. You saw every single department. Someone was underqualified, but they got there because of their identity, all those identity politics. So do you guys think it's a good change that we're going back to actually qualifications over all this identity stuff?
Of course, I think it is. Like for example, the health administration, RFK is more qualified than the current person.
Mm-hmm.
This person's going to be more qualified to do intelligence work. She has, we appoint these people who have, um, I don't know how they get empowered, but they don't have actual experience being in the field and getting this intelligence and whatnot. And I think experience means more
Yeah, for sure.
because you're not the one sending your troops out there.
Mm-hmm.
You were a troop once, so you gotta have that kind of perspective.
that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that we're kind of getting back to where it should be as far as, I mean,
Isn't it crazy that we have to say that though? Like,
yeah, like this should not be like taboo to come back to people that are actually qualified and forget, racial and gender backgrounds. Like that should never be what someone looks at. I mean, people should look at, the experience, the character of a person, the qualifications. I mean, that's just point blank what it should be. And
yeah,
it
like
should
I don't care what color they are or if they're a man or a woman. Like whoever is the best fit that Trump wants to appoint or Biden wants to appoint, they should be the best for the job, not just because of their, how they look. It's dumb. But there was another pick that was I was really surprised, but I was actually pleasantly surprised. Pete Hegseth
Yeah.
got nominated, and he's basically a Fox News one of the hosts, and so people are like, oh, why would you appoint him to be? What's his position again? What'd they say?
his defense secretary.
Yeah, Secretary of Defense.
Yeah.
But if you look at his background, he served in Iraq. He served in multiple wars and stuff, and he also has two bronze stars from being in the military. And so people are just overlooking. He actually served the country. He knows some of that stuff, and he's not just a Fox host. Like he's out of the military. Good for him. But he knows stuff because he was on the ground before, and I think that's what we need for that position is someone who's been on the
I
ground.
agree. I agree. It's a lot different. I mean, I don't have too much experience on the ground yet, but it's a lot experience. It's a lot different than calling shots behind the desk.
Yeah. I mean, you can only know if you've been in it. And so for that position, I feel like someone who's been in the actual like groundwork that's a good person to run the department because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
know the people on the ground what they're doing, and they know more than just being a Fox News host. Like I get so mad when I see that stuff. It's like, no, he's good. Pete Hegseth is cool, and
Yeah.
then
And, these people, some of these people that are being appointed are not people who have political power before in such a big way. These people are not corrupt,
and
so
that's
you're
the
not going to
best
see a lot.
part. This,
I think that's a lot why a lot of people are getting triggered in the left side, these
yeah,
Democrats, because a lot of the corruption's going to go away. A lot of people are going to be missing paychecks.
and they're scared because they're gonna
Yeah,
reveal a lot of the corruption. I mean, that's why the Matt Gaetz thing. I think a lot of people are so mad about is because the left knows he's gonna try to bring stuff up under that's been shoveled under. That is the real like facts of what they're doing, and because that's what he did with the. He completely exposed the Russia hoax with Trump like a long time ago. So he's been in the corruption type stuff. So I think he's a good person for that. But that's why they're getting so mad because they know what's coming.
absolutely. I'm just excited. But he has an interesting take. I like. He said he doesn't fully like see how support like women in combat roles.
Mm.
Not in the military, just in combat roles. I mean, I don't know how I feel about that one. It's just I've had some really good female leadership in the military,
You're
and
talking
like
about
they're really
Pete
aggressive.
Hegseth?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I don't know how you guys feel about it. You guys probably have to look more into it.
I've seen the clip of him saying it. And I guess it is kind of like on one hand, of course, there's going to be women that are better than men in certain, like in the military, just like there's men better than women. But I don't know. What position is he talking about? Like,
I don't remember him. He just said combat roles.
In general,
so
yeah.
yeah, combat roles. I don't know what exactly that would
Yeah.
entail. So
Just want to see what you guys thought about it.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand from a perspective because, as a woman, you can see the feminist agenda and you can see like if, they were to hear him say that, they'd be like, oh, well, he's clearly sexist. Like he doesn't want women to contribute at all. But I mean, women and men do have different roles in general, not just in military, but in
yeah,
general. Absolutely. There are such qualified women in the military and like, Tulsi Gabbard, like we're seeing this here.
Yeah.
But I don't think that people should take what he said to be completely that way because I think he does acknowledge that there are very smart women in the military. But I mean, I would not necessarily fully agree with him, but I can understand what he's saying as far as combat. I mean, I can understand it's controversial for
yeah.
sure, but
I understand it too on the side of like traditional
exactly,
roles of what we're good at, because men are stronger physically than
absolutely,
women, and so that there's a point on that side that you could take that and say, well, in combat roles, if they're stronger, maybe if the wrong women are in, and they're like not the wrong women, but if they're getting in these roles where they're put in danger when they didn't have to be, that's where I see the other side of it. But
yeah,
um,
for sure,
I don't think that's ever going to change anyway because they're not going to make it where women can't.
right.
Yeah.
But they should never make it where they have to, in
Yes,
my
I
opinion.
would agree. I don't want to be drafted. I
Yeah,
don't want that. I'm not cut out for that at all. But
yeah. I mean, I don't think it should ever be a requirement of women. That's kind of the point of being a man is to protect, defend your family. You
yeah.
want to
Yeah.
fight for them. So, am I missing any pick? Oh, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. Lydia, what are your thoughts on him?
I mean, I think it's so. I mean, it's gonna be sad not having him as like one of our senators. I mean, I will miss him, but I think it's really cool as far as they talk about how as far as diversity, even though that does not necessarily matter, but he's Cuban, and so he has that as far as people can look at his record in that way. On the other side, if they're like, oh, Trump's just picking the same.
Yeah, they're not all just like white. There's
Exactly.
different people.
Like honestly, that doesn't matter to me, but to the other side, like that's a good point to bring up that
Yeah,
he does have that behind him there, and he's a very strong leader in general in that way. And I once again I will miss him here, and I've been kind of hearing talk of like who might replace him in Florida here, but
I heard Laura Trump may try to get the seat.
oh my goodness,
Yeah, So yeah, they have to do. Governor DeSantis would have to appoint someone for like until the next term, basically.
Mm.
Um, and then for the is that for the Senate we're talking about? Yeah, for the
Yes,
Senate.
Senate.
Yeah, because it's different in the House. I think you have to have a special election in the House, but for the Senate, I'm pretty sure the governor appoints them, and then it's like until their next term. So that would be interesting to see someone like that, Laura Trump. I mean, she did a great job with the election integrity stuff during the election, so maybe she'll bring that side of it and kind of keep watch on people in the Senate. But John, what do you think about Marco Rubio?
Um, I've heard of Marco Rubio. I mean, I don't know him too much. He did come to Liberty once. That was
Oh,
kind of
really?
cool. Yeah,
No way.
he was like 5 feet from me. Like,
Oh, wow.
it's feet in front of me actually. Um, but I mean, I think he's done a terrific work. He has a great background in what he's done for Florida. So I think a new role for him.
Yeah.
See, would be good.
Secretary of State, I like him for the role because he believes in peace through strength, just like Trump does. So I think we have a solid foundation now that we're going to build the military and build America up to be strong and then have peace through that. And he
Yeah,
believes the same thing Trump does in that aspect. So I think that's a great way to bring him in. So we are
yeah,
going to have a new senator of Florida. And then Rick Scott did win his election, and he tried to get Senate Majority Leader, but he didn't win the blind. Um, they had anonymous vote thing. What do you guys feel? How do you feel about that? Do you think we should know who our senators are voting to be the leader? Is that like a transparency thing, or what do you think?
I mean, I guess I would see both sides of it because I understand like that is like, Senate's job to decide the majority leader. But I
Mm-hmm.
feel like as the American people, I mean, I feel like it could be helpful. I mean, personally, I would want to know. I mean, as far as like the process of what that was and how the votes looked overall. I mean, obviously it was not, in favor of Rick Scott to that
Yeah,
extent. But I can understand both sides because I do understand, just the responsibility of the Senate. But I mean, personally, I would like to know. I like to know these things in general, as do we all.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely. I understand why they wouldn't want people to know. Like if they don't want to ruin they don't want to pick someone just because everyone's pressuring them to. So that on that side, I agree with that. But I also think like as our senators, we should know who they want to vote for. Like we elected them on behalf of us. So I kind of like to know like who is in what side because we elected them. You know.
Right.
yeah. I don't know. There's pros and cons to both of them. You know, it could lead to the person making a vote without pressure. So,
Yeah.
but also people want to know, and it could be helpful for future elections.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, all right, so those are the main picks basically. That's the main cabinet picks. And the election is now over finally. Actually, they're still
What
counting a few seats, but
I wanted to ask you, what do you think about a new person in charge of the borders?
oh, we needed that.
Yeah, I think that's a huge W. I think he's aggressive with it. It needs to be done.
Yeah, and I mean, he's not gonna put up with anything.
No, I mean, I heard that he had like just the policy of just like that he's not budging on anything. Like it is deportation. And that's what we need. We need the strength, and that we need someone that's not gonna back down.
Tom Homan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I know he's worked in immigration before. I mean, he worked with like as far as security with that, so he does have great experience there, which is good. But he has that, and then he has the personality and willpower to get it
Yeah,
done.
yeah, and we need someone like that right now because there's such a big problem that it's gonna take someone that's really like aggressive with it to start to fix it. So I
Right.
think it's a good pick too.
yeah,
What do you
I
think
think
about
it's
him?
gonna be awesome. I mean, I think what's happened to border is um, like disgusting. Like, there's no security right now. There's human trafficking crossing. I've been doing my research on it, uh, looking at documentaries too, and it's quite bad what happens at the border. And there needs to be someone who can do the job. Clearly, that has not happened in the last 4 years.
No. And
And
can I ask you a question, John?
yeah, and I'm trying. Actually, Cam, I'm trying to volunteer to go work at the border over the summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I sent a request. We'll see what.
Wow, that would be awesome.
I don't know.
I have a question because you
Yeah.
came from a different country.
I did.
legally. You came through a legal process, and you're a citizen now, right?
I am.
Yeah. So how do you feel as someone who did the process legally and seeing people that aren't doing it legally and still getting into the country?
So here's the thing. This is a
Just from a
this is
perspective
a
of someone
very
who's been
this
in
is a
it, you know?
very I don't know. I have mixed opinions about it in my head, but I mean, I came in, I got my green card, did the whole 10 years, got my citizenship. I was blessed to have enough money financially to get this process started, to have a dad who was American. But a lot of people aren't blessed in the same way that I am in these countries, and they can't uh, find a way to get the citizenship. They just maybe they can't afford the fees. Like these people are broke. Like $200 for a passport might mean nothing for us here, but that's a lot over there. They don't have the connections of a father like I did. It's not an easy process for these people over there. And the good people who cross the border come here to do good work, right? And you can make an argument these people have a huge role in the United States in the farming and whatnot. But here's the thing that ruins it. For every one single good person, there's like three bad people,
Yeah.
you know, and you got traffickers, drug dealers, and they kind of ruin it for everybody to compromise, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we gotta kick, like honestly, we gotta kick these people out, and we gotta find a new way or easier way for these people to get access or escape the horror from their country, you know. People from South America are fleeing their countries, and I feel bad for them. But we can't just let everyone in. It's unsustainable.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it would be great. It would be amazing if we could just say like, "Yes, we want to help you guys." But it's not practical with so many people and so many criminals coming with them. That's the problem. Is like there has to be a line somewhere. And so I
yeah,
understand the other side of it like you're saying because people are struggling and it's hard to I mean, you know more than I would, but I guess like the same way we have borders of our house, like we have a door for a reason. We can't just let everyone in. I would love to let everyone in, but we, you know. So I mean, yeah, Lydia, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I really think that it is sad when you see because your heart goes out as a Christian. I mean, your heart goes out to the people that
Yeah,
really are struggling. Like you got women and children that are trying to come over and they're fleeing from danger. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And so, I think as far as like being, a neighbor to these people and, I think that that's a hard thing because then it's the twofold because you also do have, I mean, you also look at the human trafficking that's been happening there, like the child sex trafficking. Like I believe that it was like 320, 100,000. I mean, it was like just an insane number of children that have been taken from people along the border,
yeah,
both ways, both like our own and then their own on the other side. But it's just it's horrible to see that. And so that's why we do need I really feel that at this point in time, just because our borders have been completely open, I really do think that we should we need to shut them down completely for right now, just for maybe a just good amount of time for them to get a substantial amount deported essentially. And then like it can kind of be like a weaning process there where we kind of open as far as letting people still come in legally through the process, but it's just it's hard because it's been so extreme these past 4 years, and I
yeah,
think we really do need to be able to crack down for a short amount of time until we can get back on our feet.
yeah.
So
Cause yeah, that's great. I mean, the problem is with just letting everyone in is we've seen it in the last 4 years how many things have happened like Lake and Riley, people like that have been murdered by illegal aliens, illegal immigrants that aren't coming here legally for the wrong intentions. And if everyone had good intentions and wanted to work, and it would be great, but it's just not realistic. So that's
right.
the hard part. But I think there is a different sort of thing for refugees though if they're fleeing. I don't know enough about it to talk about it, but we should definitely kind of um, bring the process. I don't know how you change it, but we need a better process, but also it has to be strict as well. Like it can't just be letting everyone in, but it definitely should be
yeah,
different than it is, I think.
yeah, for sure.
And then I mean, there's just so many things that there's problems with, like sex trafficking, drugs. All this comes with open borders. So I think Lydia does have a good point of maybe because there's so much going on right now, we shut it down we fix the problems as much as we can and then open it for legal purposes. You know,
Yeah.
it's a good idea, and I think Trump has the same idea.
Yeah, I think so too. These cartels are running Mexico. Uh, they're not, and they're affecting the U.S. now.
Yeah,
Like Mexico is only like 30% country and 70% cartel.
that's crazy.
No, that is true. And the Mexican government isn't doing anything about it, and it's affecting us. And I don't know if the U.S. wants to take care of the cartels themselves, but I would be down for that.
And you know what what happens with when we have completely open borders is places like Venezuela, their crime goes down because they're releasing their criminals into the U.S. Essentially, they're letting them go because one, it's better for the criminals they get out, and then two, it's better for Venezuela because their crime goes down. So things like that, that's a problem with us when we have completely open borders. Is we're just letting all these people in.
Yeah.
Like even the cartels too. That's probably the same idea. They're probably also coming in. A
Yeah.
lot of drug cartels.
Yeah, it makes me sad just because it's not only like the trafficking, but it's also the drugs. And that's just why the fentanyl crisis was, I mean, it's still so bad, but I mean, that's largely because it's being transported over the border. And so you just see how much, it's come inland, so to speak.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just horrible just to see the effects that it has on people and how such small doses of it can like immediately kill someone.
Oh yeah. That's scary. And I want people to know that like we're not just completely against people coming to our country. Like
Right.
immigrants make this country great because everyone here is so different and has so many different talents. And when they come here legally, that's the case. But when it's just completely open and anybody can come, that's not us being, against people coming in. That's just us being aware of we have our own issues now in our country because of it. And we want to, put America first. That's the whole idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And really, John, we've talked about it before. We can't help other countries until we help ourselves too. Like
Yeah.
we have to revise what's going on here so we can help these other countries.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. If the U.S. gets back on its track and it has a good system inside and there's no corruption and it's a smooth country, then we can reach out to other countries and help their citizens and liberate them, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. That's so good.
You know what I love though about now that Trump's coming back is we are actually I mean, yes, there's all this Ukraine, all this money we've already sent, but with Trump coming back to the White House, there's already world leaders everywhere talking to him. There's people that are like there's so many presidents that he's already in contact with before he's even back in office that are saying trying to make deals and trying to calm things down because they know, and this is why Trump is so good, is they know that he'll do something if they don't stop it. Like they fear him, and it's
Yeah.
good.
No, and I look at like even I heard the other day, I think it was yesterday, I heard like the leader of China, like he reached out, he's like, we only want peace with America. Like, I think he like personally called Trump to tell him that.
As soon as Trump gets elected,
Funny. It's so funny. Like they just like his mere presence, just like this is because they know what's coming. Like
yeah,
this is
and they know they'll get 500% tariffs if they don't agree with America's stuff.
yes.
So, and that's
Yeah.
called peace through strength. That's what it
Yeah.
is. Trump knows that we're powerful, and he uses that to our advantage, not to just bomb the world, but to get the respect, for them to respect us, because Biden and Harris, we've lost the respect of the world, I think, as a country.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I just what was funny, I just watched that new Reagan movie.
Oh, really?
And my dad and I, we were just talking about the parallels just between Reagan and Trump, like the whole peace through strength thing,
Yeah.
like what he did. I mean, what he did is he negotiated. I mean, he gave, speeches and things like that. So that really turned the tide for him. I mean, that as far as like, standing off any wars that are to come, but instead, talking and
Yeah.
communicating with others before you get to physical violence.
And yeah, that's why Reagan was so great too. He had the same principles, and I think that's why I like Trump so much. Is he brought the Reagan-esque era back, and he's kind of on the same side of history as that. So It's great. But any other closing thoughts, guys, about this whole new team that's coming in?
No, sir. I'm excited.
I think there's gonna be a lot of positive change. I'm excited too. There's people in every department that are gonna really bring the people back. As John was saying, it's not just people that are there for the wrong reasons now. It's us that's up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm ultimately excited too, just to see how this plays out. Because even like the people that he's appointed, like not knowing much about them now, but seeing everything come to fruition next year, I'm super excited.
Yep, and we have 2 years at least, because we have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. 2 years to pass some stuff to get hopefully Trump's tax cuts extended and to get the legal immigration in control while we have control of the all three houses, which is kind of crazy. That's because people woke up this time. That's all I'm saying. So hopefully you guys are also agreeing with us. But if you're not, stick around. I guarantee you prices are going to go down again, and the American dream is going to come back. So thank you guys for watching once again. We'll see you next week, next Sunday, with another episode of No Filter Gen Z. If you have any topics you want us to cover, let us know in the comments, because now that the election's over, we're kind of going to pivot to different things. So let us know what you want us to talk about, and we'll see you next week. Click that subscribe button, and have a great day. See you guys.
No.